Thank you for joining us for our college visit series. Today, we're very excited to have Ashley Willis with us from Merrimack College in Massachusetts. So she's going to be here telling us all about their wonderful program in school. So I'm going to hand this over to Miss Willis to get started. Thanks for joining us today.
Great, thank you. So my name is Ashley Willis. I'm from the admission office at Merrimack College, which if you're not familiar with is okay, that's why I'm here. This is an overview photo of our campus. So we are a very traditional New England style campus located in North Andover, Massachusetts, which is about 30 minutes northwest of Boston. So as you can see from here, we're definitely in a suburban residential area, and you have that very classic campus experience, but we also have very easy access to the city. If you look in the back of the photo, the kind of building sticking up, that's actually Boston. So we're within a very easy distance from a city as well. So thinking about what makes Merrimack College unique is certainly our focus on offering you more. Just kind of everything that we do, we are focused on doing it to the best of our ability. So focusing on preparing you for the careers of the future and giving you all the skills to be prepared to enter the workforce and be applying for jobs. Offering bigger scholarships that are making us an affordable option. Connecting the majors that we have to the skills that employers are looking for to really prepare you for that next step, making sure that you're really supported in every aspect of our campus community, and really making sure that your experience at Merrimack is transformative. And so you're coming in as one student, and you're not saying you're going to change entirely as a person, but you'll really feel like you've transformed and become, ready to take that next step through your time at Merrimack. So thinking about some of the kind of big points, who are we? We have about 4,000 undergraduate students, about an additional 1,400 grad students, so just over 5,000 total. That makes us a small to medium sized institution. We have grown quite a bit in the last few years, but in that growth have not lost sight of the small school experience. So we have the resources of a slightly larger school with more than 100 different academic programs and 60 plus org clubs and organizations on campus, Division I athletics, but we also have really small class sizes. 22 is our average class size. We don't have any large 100-person lecture hall style classes, so you really get to know your faculty as well as the other students in your program. We also offer a lot of really personal advising and academic advising that you'll have within your specific school. So kind of the set of programs that you're a part of. Also through our Academic Success Center and our Career Development Center. Really throughout your journey at Merrimack, you're going to have a lot of people to go to that are going to support your work, whether that's, knowing what class to take, who to go to with residence life questions, or how to apply for your first job. Like I said, we're just outside of Boston, so not too far away. And while the majority of our students are from Massachusetts and New England, we do have a growing number from out of region as well as international. So definitely a strong mix of students on our campus. We are a Catholic Augustinian institution, which does not mean that you have to be Catholic to attend, and you can engage with or not engage with spiritual life as much or as little as you would like. And that Augustinian focus really makes us a contemporary Catholic institution. So we're much more values focused than just Catholic focused. And what that means is that the specific Augustinian values are in community, service, and lifelong learning. So what that looks like on our campus, our students are really engaged in building community on campus. So many students are a part of a club or an organization, or an athletic team, or a living learning community, something that's creating a smaller home and community within the larger campus community. And our campus is very engaged with the community around us, which definitely relates back to the service component as well. Our students frequently participate in service, especially in ways that it relates back to their academic program. So, for example, students in education are volunteering in schools in the area or volunteering tutoring services. Our finance students are offering financial advising to families in the area through our Financial Capabilities Center. So really taking that service and community engagement experience and tying it back to preparation that you're getting through your academic program as well. So those are kind of some of the basic facts. These are some additional facts, sort of thinking about our larger campus community and how this is all really coming together for our students. Our students do have a 96% career outcomes rate, which means that within 9 months of graduation, 96% of our students are placed in a job or in graduate school. Graduate school is entirely an option as well, particularly for students in some of the sciences, health sciences, education. Those are some really common programs where students may be continuing on directly into a graduate level degree. We do guarantee housing for all 4 years, which is certainly good to know when you're coming from a distance. About 74% of our students do live on campus, so we are a primarily residential institution, and as long as you would like a spot on campus, there is one for you. Our campus is very lively. You know, the Division I sports certainly contribute to the campus atmosphere and level of spirit that we have on campus. We also have a lot of great facilities, whether it's academic or social. On the academic side, we have trading room on campus. We have a greenhouse, an observatory, a lot of great lab spaces for students, a radio station, a TV studio. So really, whatever academic program you're in, we offer a lot of opportunity for you to be doing hands-on work in facilities on campus, so that when you are going on to an internship, you have that hands-on experience that you've gotten in the classroom to connect to that next step. We also have, a Dunkin' Donuts on campus, Starbucks coffee, free laundry, a commuter lounge, a 24/7 gym on campus. So a lot of multiple different eating options, whether it's the main dining hall, our food truck, our pizza cafe in the library, lots of options and things to experience on the campus as well, which certainly contributes to that campus life. Thinking about internships, about 87% of our students participate in an internship while they're a student on our campus. So that's certainly contributing to that career outcomes rate on the other side. You get a lot of support in looking for internships through your academic advisors as well as our career development center. Some students complete internships in the Boston area. You might complete one closer to home over the summer. Some students participate in research on campus as an internship opportunity. A lot of our faculty are doing research and invite students to participate with them in that, and they often have the opportunity to be published. Because we're still a primarily undergraduate institution, you definitely have a lot of opportunity there. Whereas an institution that's more graduate level heavy, a lot of those research opportunities may go to graduate students. So a lot of opportunity to get that hands-on and really be connecting your classroom skills to real experience. Like I mentioned earlier, we have grown quite a bit in the last 5 to 10 years. These are just noting some of our recent rankings. Don't like to focus too much on rankings, but I do want to use these to highlight that the growth that we've had and the expansion that we've had over the past 5 to 10 years is being recognized on a larger scale. So we are becoming more recognized, outside of just New England. And a lot of that growth, this is more of someone other than me working at the college telling you that that's really the direction that we've been in the last few years. So thinking a little bit about the application process. So we are on the Common App. So if you're using that to apply anywhere else, I recommend adding us there. It's much easier than doing a separate application. But if you're not using the Common App, we do have an online application available as well. In addition to the actual application, we just need your personal essay, which can be the Common App essay. We don't have a second one for you to write. Your high school transcript, a secondary school report, which is basically just a summary of your high school. Your counselor will submit that on your behalf. And then a letter of recommendation, either from a school counselor or from a teacher, just someone who knows you in an academic capacity. The reason that S is in parentheses at the end of recommendation letters, for the majority of our students, you only need to submit one letter of recommendation. If you are applying to our nursing program, we just require a second letter of recommendation, preferably from a math or science teacher, although that's not required. Regardless of how you apply, there is no application fee, so you don't need to pay anything to apply to Merrimack. And we are test blind, so you don't need to submit SAT or ACT scores. The only way that differs from test optional is we're saying test blind to be really upfront and transparent, that we are just not using test scores in the application review process or in awarding merit scholarship. So should just eliminate any confusion around that. If you want to save your sends for another school, I recommend doing so. Thinking about the deadlines. So we do have an early decision option, which is binding. If you apply during early decision and are admitted, our expectation is that you're definitely coming to Merrimack. If you're not ready to make that decision by November 15th, that's totally fine. We also have an early action option, which is non-binding. Early action 1 is also a November 15th deadline. Early action 2 is January 15th. And then we have a rolling admission option after that. There is no specific benefit to choosing one of these deadlines over the other from an admission standpoint. We're going to review your application the same way, regardless of which deadline you apply to. The primary difference is when you'll receive a decision. So if you apply by the November timeline, you'll have your decision before the holidays. By January, you'll have your decision end of January, early February. And in rolling admission, we send out decisions on a weekly or bi-weekly basis based off when you complete the application. The only other thing to consider, some students feel particularly strongly about including their senior year grades. Maybe if you struggled in your junior year, but you're doing great in the first semester of senior year and you really want to include that, in that scenario, I would recommend the January deadline. But it's entirely up to you. We certainly don't require senior year grades. Thinking about what we're looking for in the application, our average GPA is about a 3.3, which is like a solid B average. It's definitely not a minimum. We admit students from a really wide range of GPAs. We're looking at, your trajectory of grades throughout high school, the kinds of classes that you took, what you were involved in outside of the classroom, taking a really holistic approach because we're assessing your fit for the Merrimack community. And that's not always tied to something as definitive as a minimum GPA. We also have a number of specific academic cohorts and programs that we invite students to be a part of that are meant to provide additional support at different GPA levels. So we're not just thinking whether that's, additional academic support if you maybe struggle in the classroom a little bit, all the way up through our honors program, which is meant to provide an additional challenge for students. So we're not just thinking about your fit for the Merrimack community overall, but really thinking about how you can be successful in some of those academic programs as well. So thinking about tuition and fees and scholarships, which is everyone's least favorite part of the conversation, but important nonetheless. Our total sticker price, tuition fees, room and board and everything is just about $64,000. No one is really paying that to come to Merrimack. We do offer merit scholarships. They currently range from about $10,000 to $26,000. And you're reviewed for those automatically as part of the admissions process. So you don't need to apply separately to them. And an acceptance letter from us would indicate right away the scholarship and the amount that you're receiving. 99% of our incoming students receive a merit scholarship. So it's safe to assume that if you're being admitted, you are receiving a merit scholarship of some kind. We do also have need-based aid available. So you apply for that by submitting the free application for federal student aid, or commonly known as the FAFSA. That allows you to be reviewed for federal aid that you may be eligible for. That's the stuff that you're going to get at basically any institution that you're submitting a FAFSA to. We do also have need-based aid from Merrimack available. So that's additional grants and scholarships that you may be eligible for from us that are awarded based off your personal financial situation. Your merit, your need-based aid, your federal aid, all that's going to come together to create a financial aid package that will address that $64,000 number. Typically, these two numbers on the tuition fees and room and board, the averages, those are average numbers after scholarships and grants. Averages can be really hard to use in a financial aid conversation because what it looks like for you versus another student is going to be very different. The main takeaway from these numbers is that the $64,000 is not what students are paying, and that we are typically a much more affordable option after that aid is applied. So these next couple of slides kind of just show all of our different academic programs. I'm not going to get too into the weeds on all of them because that would take a way more time than you want to listen to me talk. But just to kind of go over, we have a School of Business. Business is our largest school by a pretty small percentage. It's just over 30% of our students. Our students are actually relatively evenly distributed, but business does take a slightly larger chunk. In the School of Business, everyone is a business administration major, and then you have a number of different concentrations to choose from. Then we have our School of Education and Social Policy. Teacher education is designed for you to be able to get a license to teach. Even if you're out of state, Massachusetts does have pretty high standards for educator licensure. And so if you're meeting the requirements in Massachusetts, that does we do have reciprocity with certain states, but also our standards are generally meeting the standards of other states as well. Also have criminology and criminal justice, which is one of our larger programs. Our School of Health Sciences, athletic training is available as a 5-year master's program as well. So you can do the undergrad and master's program in athletic training in 5 years, as well as a number of other options, including nursing. School of Science and Engineering, so whether you're interested in the natural sciences or something in the engineering field, physics, neuroscience. You can also come in as undecided among these options as well. Our School of Liberal Arts, which is our second largest school. So a lot of those kind of traditional liberal arts programs, many of which can be very interdisciplinary. So you definitely have a lot of opportunity to double major and minor, and across schools. So you don't need to do that with just programs within the liberal arts. You can do liberal arts in business, liberal arts in health sciences, really a lot of different combinations. This is a list of all of our minors. We have some really interesting ones. At Merrimack, we're very focused on offering you the opportunity to explore your specific interests, which is how many of these minors developed over time, thinking about what students were specifically interested in. So our academics are meant to be as flexible as they can be, which gives you a lot of opportunity to have the option to double major or major and do a minor or 2 minors, or really kind of explore multiple things, even if you're not sure how those things go together. So even if you don't have a specific plan for how you're going to use your major and your minor in the future in your career, it's not a reason to not study it. We just want you to be able to explore things that you're interested in. And if they come together in your career, great. If not, at least you got to study it. I know I already covered our location. We're about 30 minutes away from Boston, really easy flight from the Richmond area or the Northern Virginia area, either one, lots of flights into Boston, and then we're a quick drive from there. Also, a lot of things in our area. We're very close to the border of New Hampshire. So if you want to do more outdoorsy stuff, that is available. The North Shore of Massachusetts also has a lot of great things to do. And that is sort of my formal overview. This isn't information just about contacting our office, but I am the counselor for Virginia, so definitely feel free to reach out to me anytime. Assuming that the chat is recorded, I can just pop my email.
Yes, and I'll put that information out to our students who are watching as
Okay.
well. Thank you.
Perfect. Just put my email in the chat box. You can certainly feel free to reach out to me directly anytime as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I have one quick question.
Sure.
So you talked about the scholarships that everyone is considered for when they apply. Do they have to apply for one of the early options, or any student, anytime?
Nope. Nope. We award the scholarships to all students the same way. So there's not a deadline on that. And same thing with the FAFSA. We work with students on need-based aid. I know there's like a priority deadline for the FAFSA that everyone kind of uses across the board, but we work with students throughout the summer and right up to the start of the semester on that.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. This was great information. I know I'm not as familiar with Merrimack, so this was really helpful. Thank you.
Great.
Do you have any questions, Ms. Edwards?
Oh, thank you. This was awesome. It's just is very detailed, and that's what we need to help our students. So we really appreciate that, and that will be so helpful for these students and families. And honestly, I feel like just being able to do some of these virtual visits opens our students' eyes up to so many more schools, and that is one benefit.
Yeah.
So thank you.
And students watching, make sure you reach out to Ms. Willis if you have any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.